Well, shalom, 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 my brother. All right, we are here. Well, I can't say we minus one, but we are here. We are here. I guess Jedediah he won't be with us. I guess he's he wants his contract renewed. I think he want 1.5 million. So I think we will have to give it to him in order to get him back. They call him a holdout. He's a holdout. He's a holdout. Uh, yeah, my brother, he's in the working force on tonight, so we'll definitely miss him in that. And I guess just try to be live here that sometimes that's the way it is, in that. So, and I know you know how that is as well as others. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. Here in Central Texas area, the schools are back in again. Huh? It's time to do it all over again. All right, all right. Let's see who we have in the house with us today. All right, all right. We'll give them a little shout out here. They say all of the early birds that are in the chat room anyway. And then those of you that are here, we say shalom to you and greetings in every area of your life. So we want to kind of build on tonight, and we was of course going through, and I don't know how much of we dealing with the honor on tonight, and I don't know how much we could get through. Is so much, so much, so much. And as I was thinking about the other nine, because we are on 10 now, so I was thinking about the other nine, and I tell you, they all go together. It's a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing if we can put those things in our heart and begin to walk them out. And so honor, wow, that is something that we can really begin to build on in a lot of things. It was some today I was looking at different things on honor. Even some others might say some things and different things like that. But because I wanted to see what the temperature of the room is, and when I say that, I'm talking about our surrounding areas and how we feel about honor. Because I know through the years it has changed tremendously. In that. And one of the things that I wanted to express, even tonight is a lot of times we talk about how our scriptures, and then we say, oh, the culture was like this. The culture was honor. Now, it's two sides of its coin, and I know that because you have the honor and the shame, right? And they kind of go together. So when you have your scriptures like that, you kind of look at them and they say they kind of go together, right? And one of the things is we always relate to, well, in that culture in the biblical times, the culture was like this, and we need to understand that. And today, where we at, it is just totally different in that from what it used to be. One of the things that we try to do is we try to go back to a time where we can understand our scriptures and what setting it was in. And those things are very important, right? We need to know what setting was that. And so today we do have the typical honor that we know of, and we know that it definitely starts in the home, right? That's one of the things I really wanted to express as we get ready to kick off is, honor your father and your mother, right? Honor them in that. And that's one place that if you do not understand or if you are not taught honor, if you don't know what that honor is, then it's going to be difficult. And so if the parent don't know what the honor is, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be very, very difficult because we are talking about the power of the community. And anytime you deal with your scriptures, you dealing with honor and shame in that. You understand? You're dealing with a whole new culture. And so many times that's what we call it, the kingdom culture, I like to put it, right? So instead of trying to mix it with sort of what we got today, sometimes you're going to have to put down what you have in order for you to grab a hold to the things that's in the kingdom when it's talking about honor, because then it teaches us a different way. So we have to be transformed by the renewing of our mind, right? And so sometimes honor look different according to who it is. That could look different. But when I look out and when I listen to others and different things like that, because if the way that if we really honored the way that our scriptures tell us to honor, we wouldn't say the things that we say about others, right? No matter who the others is, you wouldn't even say those things because the honor would be there. I also wanted to express, before I open it up to you, is that we are talking about in your community, your assembly, right? Wherever you are at, you thinking about that particular group. I'm gonna bring it out of that part. That particular group, they establish what's honorable, what's not honorable, and all of those things, right? So no matter where you at, they gonna establish that, and that's how you know that the honor can be elevated, right? Because some you can inherit that honor by what your parents or what your brothers or whoever, all of those, what they have done, they can kind of leave that same honor. Because if your father or mother was honorable, then that can stem down to you. And so most times, again, I revert back in this little circle in the fact that it's going to start at home, right? It's going to start at home and teaching them. And then when I say teaching them, I'm just not talking about, open the book, sit them down, and say, this is what honor looks like. I'm saying that we are in examples of what honor is. And so we begin to walk those things out in that. Now, it's very, very difficult in, it's all about me society, how I feel, what my feelings is, and all of that. So, this honor thing may not be something that everybody would run to and have a heart for, you know. But when it comes to the things of the Father, we're going to have to develop a heart for it, in that. So, in order for us to grow to the point that what we need to grow in, and that's where we want to get in that. And talking about before in that it is very, very important. You're gonna have chaos if you don't have honor, right? But again, in order to have that honor, well, shame comes with it, because that's what you'll develop when you don't have the honor that you need. Then it brings about a shameful situation in that. So a lot of times the group that you are with, they will sort of determine what's honorable and what's not, right? And hopefully that this honor would be solely concrete in the things of our scriptures. That's where we want to really go with that as well. But my brother, I'm gonna let you go ahead and jump right in there. I just wanted to share a little piece on that. It's so much, but hopefully we can power someone up in this situation, and that someone I want to be able to begin with myself, in that. So come on aboard, my brother.
Shalom, shalom.
All right, shalom,
All glory to the Most High. I
hallelujah.
miss my brother.
Yes,
It's
yes,
it's good. Two is better than one. Three. Three braided cords not broken easily. So
yes,
it's
yes.
it's it's so good to have us all. But we understand how things go. Um, and yes, sir, I agree with what you said in the intro there about the honor. I mean, I learned a lot just talking with you right before we got in here. Even
Mm,
the Hebrew word for this is kavad. That's kaf bet resh, kaf bet dalid, and it's a verb. It
mm-hmm.
means heaviness.
Yes,
So
yes.
that's awesome, and I think we all see that, in the scriptures. It'll say, "And the glory of the Father showed up." Well, that's the honor part. That's where that word comes from. So I think that's awesome. And there was a scripture that you quoted it roughly, but I meant to pull it up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And sorry, I just want to pull it up really quick.
Yeah, sure, sure. No problem.
And we brought it up before over the weeks, like you said, of the other 9 episodes, like all of it, they all kind of interconnect.
Yes, yes.
So it's impossible to have, just one of these attributes. I remember one time you were teaching on the fruit of the ruach, the spirit, and you brought up the analogy of like an orange. It's like, yeah,
Uh-huh.
even though you've got these different wedges in there, it's all still one fruit.
Yes.
And I believe it's the same with all these different parts we've kind of walked down with together, and it all shows that it's connected, and esteem or honor, glory, and all those things being part of it. So Philippians 2 and verse 3,
Mm-hmm.
it's and I'm just zooming in. I know sometimes we just zoom in on one verse, but the point I'm trying to make is attached to it. It says, "Doing none at all through selfishness or self-conceit,
Mm-hmm.
but in humility consider others better than yourself." And I think if you wanted a
Oh
shotgun
man,
definition
that's a good one.
for honor, I think that's a great place. And then even the next verse, it says, "Each one should look out not for his own interest,
Oh,
but also for the interest of others."
oh.
Oh, we
Okay,
got
I
a
think.
second intro going.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Something happened there. Yeah, pushed the wrong button. I was trying to bring up that scripture there, and I guess that's all it
Yes,
would
sir.
take is just a different button. There you go. All right.
Oh, awesome. And what really just screams out to me about this, I guess, is a kind of a foundation understanding here, is that real honor, or if you would, how we use the term biblical, the biblical perspective of it is going to be, you know, I think it's John 3:30. "I decrease, somebody else increases."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In that sense, he's talking about the Messiah, but I believe we can use that for one another. And I don't know. I believe it's just we need somebody to look up to. We need somebody above, and somebody to honor and to lift up someone is really what I'm saying. And you can't do that putting your own interest before others, and you can't do that looking down on other people as if they should be where you are, or if they shouldn't be where they are. So we need to really like look at it in the sense that if I'm honoring somebody, I'm giving them the what they're due. I'm giving them what they're due. And in that, what really comes in my mind is authority. Authority and honor go hand in hand. I think in
Mm-hmm.
the 10 words, it even brings that up about honor your father and your mother.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing so, it says your days, could be long upon the soil, shall be long upon the soil which the Most High has given you. He's speaking to our ancestors, telling them what they need to do, and now how it applies to us today. I believe, everybody says you can't choose your parents and all that stuff that people say, but the whole point is Yah puts you under authority. And
Yes,
as a
yes.
person under authority, when you respect the authority that the Father has given you, that's honor. And it comes in lots of different ways. We experience it on our jobs. I'm pretty sure most people aren't going to tell their boss what they're not going to do, but you honor them. You honor them. They say, "Could you pick that up? Could you sweep this?" And of course, your response is going to be yes, if you're that individual who shows honor. Um, and I think what really screams out for me is there's a verse in Proverbs, and it's talking about what happens in I would say a relationship with honor, and it's coming from Mishle Proverbs 9 and verses 7 through 10.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna try and explain this, so I hope I hope it comes out clear. Um, but just as we know, Yah uses like sheep a lot in the scriptures. He refers to us as sheep, and sheep are by nature going to follow a shepherd. They're going to follow what what their shepherd is leading them to. So that means the shepherd is due a certain honor just because they're the one that the father chose to lead. So in doing so, the shepherd, I believe, shows an example. So they're going to model themselves after the great shepherd, which means that they're going to be a certain type of overseer. They're not going to compel. They're not going to force people to do things. They're not going to about greedy gain,
Hmm.
and they're not going to be the type of people who oppress people. That leaders of the Most High don't oppress, and in doing so, they show themselves as humble. And the
Hmm.
master
Hmm.
has a way of exalting the humble or giving honor to the humble. And I think here in Mishle, it's really expressing that relationship. In Proverbs 9 and verse 7, it says, "He who reproves a scoffer gets shame for himself, and he who rebukes a wrong one gets himself a blemish. Do not reprove a scoffer, lest he hate you.
Hmm.
Reprove a wise one, and he loves you. Give instruction to a wise one, and he is wiser still. Teach a righteous one, and he increases in learning. The fear of Yahweh is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the set apart one is understanding." And again, there's a witness for that in chapter 19, verse 25.
Hmm.
So how does this deal with honor? What this screamed out to me about how honor and authority go hand in hand is the instruction and the instructor deserve to be respected. Some people say, "Oh, that's not my," they'll say that's not my leader, or it's not my, fill in the blank person of authority.
Hmm.
But regardless, that person still needs to be respected. But in doing so, the when you listen, you grow, you increase. It says if you are a wise one and you're being instructed, it says he increases in learning. Versus if we can find out whether or not we're honoring an individual or if we're in a relationship where we are honorable, is that when the reproof comes or the instruction comes, instead of increasing, I get shame. Instead of being the person who becomes wiser still, it says I get a blemish. So I look at that in the instruction, and in this, what I'm getting out of that is that in a relationship where there is honor or when there's value, it should cause you to increase because you're trying to increase from the one who's increasing you. You're trying to grow. You're
Hmm.
trying to be built up. You're trying to seek after all the good that the master has shown them so that you can achieve where they are. But if you're not in that type of relationship, and if you're not the type of person who's humble to receive that correction, instead you're just going to get shamed and you're going to get rebuke. So that's just what come off to my heart. It may not be for everybody, but it makes sense to me. Is just in the sense that relationship of honor is going to be about increasing and increasing in all the things that are righteous. But if there is shame instead, then we'll get the opposite.
Right, 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 absolutely. And I think even when you went down, it says, "For me," verse 11, "for by me your days become many, and years of life are added to you." In that, so the thing is, one of the things is the life of abundance is when we can honor one another, right? So I want to put that out to you, is the fact that this honor that we're talking about when it says each other, right? When it says honor each other, and then of course it begins with the parents, of course, in that. So, what are some examples, my brother, that you would look at, and how would that look like when we talking about honoring one another in that? Is it, you honor positions, or do you, who you are? Of course, you are in the kingdom. You may not be in the kingdom. what is some of those things when you're thinking about in the community or thinking about honor like that, you know?
Oof. Yes, sir. I guess there's a lot of, and I mean, I'm only winded in the sense that there's a lot of things you could do. I think when it comes to honoring people, I think the easiest one we could think of is treating people the way we want to be treated.
Okay, right.
So, if somebody is coming at me in a respectful way, then to honor them, I also will come at them in a respectful way. If someone is coming at me in a way that I don't want to be spoken to, I guess in that sense, to honor them, I'm not going to like belittle them or put them down, but I definitely think I'm going to show them a side better than the one I think that they're showing me. So it's
Yeah,
still,
yeah.
I'm still going to try and lift them up,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
And even if I have to grit my teeth, I'm still, I'm not gonna. I do my best to take it in, as they say, in stride. So when I'm thinking about like how to honor one another, the situation I think changes everything. If I'm dealing with my brother, it's going to be about showing him the respect he's due. If I'm eating at his house, I'm not going to sit in his chair.
Right,
It's
right,
his
right,
chair,
right.
and so I'm going to ask, or that sense, or I'm going to let them give me a spot instead of I'm going to take one. And I'm not going to, if I think this is a big deal, we do this. I mean, this is just a Hebrew thing, perhaps. But if I go over someone's house and it's time for prayer, the head of the household should be the one that gets the opportunity to either delegate that or you know give it himself. It
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be
Mm-hmm.
I go over and now I'm going to take this position and now I get to be this spiritual head in a place where I have no authority. So I
Mm-hmm.
think each
Mm-hmm.
place changes the way you would honor one another. And of course, like I mentioned at the workplace, it should be about the way I see it is an unchallenged obedience is how
Mm-hmm.
you show authority that you honor them. If they say this, no, I don't know, no silly straws in your cup. So no
Mm-hmm.
silly
Mm-hmm.
straws. So I'm
Uh-huh.
I'm going to get rid of the silly straws, and I'm not going to challenge it because the silly straw was they have an insight that I don't have. So instead of me trying to usurp their authority or get underneath it, I'm just going to unchallenged give them my unchallenged obedience. And most of the time, the people in authority receive that as respect and honor.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yeah, I think it was real good what you were saying there, and the the honor that like we giving one another. One of the things is okay. Let me use this something I could is that I would do. I think one of the things, it's not the only thing, but one of the keys is I see this over the years. Wherever you go, this makes it easy. Wherever you go, wherever it might be, right? If we have a mindset of honor, wherever place you go into, whatever home, and you use some of those things, right? Whatever work you go into, if you're walking down the street, right? There's always a place in our mind where the honor should be. And automatically, of course, we could read it, but we know those that the elders, they're gonna automatically get that just because of the age, right? So we honor that just off the bat. And I think sometimes we in the positions and we don't know where to place that honor, because a lot of times we take honor from people without really realizing it. And I see it many a times, you know and then that will really bring a lot of tension down, a lot of stress down, a lot of things down when you realize what's going on, right? Now, I know we talking this, but we're gonna have to start putting it into practice, you know. So wherever I go into, wherever I might be, then that's automatically whoever's the head or whoever's whatever. That's automatically that's the honor that's due that, right? They're due that particular honor. And so when you, like you said, when you're thinking about one another, you know, it's not, you know, you automatically give your brother, esteem them in such a way that they are more highly than yourself. So what that does is it automatically put honor in their corner, you know. So we honoring one another. It's not one sided, but we honoring one another in that, right? So if I went in, let me use this. If I went into a grocery store, right? So when I go, we'll use the stores that we have here that I'm familiar with. Some may not be, but just think about your own grocery store in whatever state or country you may be in. But when we go in, sometimes I'm thinking about HEB here. But when we go in, sometimes somebody's at the door to greet you, right? You know, so once I go into that door, now all of my honor is turned over to HEB in that sense, right? So I'm honoring the workers, I'm honoring everyone that's there as I go through, right? And in our mind, we think like customer. I'm the customer and you need to serve me, right? But when I go in, I realize now that I am in a place that you may be providing something for me. So I need to honor you for that, you know. So to make a long story shorter, if I get ready to, when I get ready to check out, I don't get into it with the cashier because I have to honor them because they are giving me a service to help me to, you know, get out of there, right? So I have to realize that that's what I want to do is we won't get into a conflict if I give you the honor in that. Honor is not based on somebody might say, well, you don't know what she said or he don't know what he said or whatever. The honor is not based on that, right? It's based on already where I'm at. And this is just one way of looking at it, not the only way. This may be somewhere at the basement, right? But can we get through this, right? That's the honor that we need in that, you know, and the respect that we need. So if a manager come and they say, sir, don't go down this aisle, but go down the other aisle. Well, what I need is in this aisle. No, I blew my honor for them, right? You understand? I said, oh, okay. I go around here. I was looking for a product there. Then they may go get it for me, right? So what I want us to understand in this, if we don't pull nothing else, if you was to use honor with people, right, it's gonna be it's so much lighter. If you honor others, it's so much lighter wherever you may be. You know, if we can follow that, right, follow those instructions that they give us without getting upset. But what takes honor out is I'm a customer and you know what you know, and and I did this and you taking the honor out of it. You know, the same thing with one another. You know, we always have to keep the honor wherever we go. If we at the job, it's the same thing. If I talk about the one that's in charge at my job to somebody else, I'm not honoring them, right? I just took my honor from them, right? And then I'm begin to put shame on here, right? So I can go on and on and on, but what I'm saying is it's easily done. That's easily done. So I have to have a mindset that whatever I'm doing, you know, is this honoring this person or it is not going to honor them, you know. And so sometimes, you know, through the eyes or the lens of the love or whatever, you know, there's some things that you can say, but other things you cannot say. And even though you thinking it, you can't say according to their level of honor. So I'm putting it in the levels of honor. So you honor everyone, but there's different levels of honor according to what their position is, right? And so that brings about a more heavier, you were saying earlier, esteem in that. You understand? So the father, nobody gets his honor. Is that right? So, but when we're talking about honoring one another, then it's increased or is heavy according to what their position is in that. But we honor all. That's a start. But as you elevate in whatever position you are, because you have to bring it back to a community, whatever position you are, whatever it is, we always have to make sure we honor one another. And then your community is the one that's going to deal with the ones that's not being honorable to one another in that, right? So one of the things that I said all of that to say that what's really in my mind is starting at the home. So in order for it to work in the home, I'm dealing with the father and the mother teaching their children. The woman has to honor her husband. The husband has to honor his wife, right? So here it is. The difference in this is I'm using the more heavier part would go to the husband, right? The structure of what we are needing. As the head of that household, the honor is different. Both are honored, but that's honor there. So when I'm teaching them about honor, they seeing the honor of me and my wife honoring one another. That's how they pick up on that. And then, of course, you telling them, and I'll let you jump in here because you have little ones, but you're teaching them what to say, what not to say to others. And so they are learning now, oh, okay, this is a certain honor, right? So sometimes you as you trying to learn this, there are mistakes that's being made, even with adults, because some have never do that. Some things you don't even say to your mom. Some things you don't even say to your dad, right? It's just the bottom line. But if you look at you look at the world around us, they say a lot. I could be in the store, they do a lot, and so it carries. It is very very. It can get pushed down in the situation of life, and then people go on and do what they need to do. But in that, what do you feel about that, mother and father? What's some of your things on that, honoring your mother and father, brother?
Yes, sir. So that is a bullseye. That's a bullseye area. And I know everybody's raised differently. So
Mm-hmm.
this is going to be pertaining to people who may have a similar upbringing to the words I'm about to share. But that does not negate the fact that it's still a good thing, by the way.
Right, right.
Um, so just on the starter, we show respect to all adults, and we refer to them by a title. So we might call them Mr. or Mrs., Ma'am or Sir.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Upon receiving correction or instruction, we show that we heard it.
Mm-hmm.
We can follow it up with a yes, sir, or a yes, ma'am. And I think so that's how I'm raising my children. So, like you said, it's funny. I just wrote that down. You can't say everything. You
No, no,
can't,
right, right,
there's
right.
certain things you
Absolutely.
can't say. So sometimes, children will come up and they'll be like, "Oh, why is your face so?" or whatever, right? So they don't get it. They don't get that they shouldn't say that. But what I really am trying to say is that as we're teaching them, that's a place to show honor. So now I'm going to say, okay, Shelly, because it's going to be her who says it. You can't you can't say that, Shelly. So this is what you should have said, or
Mm-hmm.
this is what you
Mm-hmm.
could have said. To show respect and honor in that. And I know sometimes those words don't always they're not one for one, but what really gets me in that is that I've encountered in my life of people of the world, they'll say things like respect is earned, not given. You know, I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
say that's not Hebrew. That's not your word. That's
No,
not the
no.
servants of the Most High. That a follower of Yeshua Messiah doesn't live by that mentality. What really is going on, like you mentioned, with the scripture says, "Rise before the gray headed."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What if you don't know them? You still rise before them. You still show them honor. They
Yeah. Yeah.
deserve it. They deserve it. The Father has given them long life and most likely also good wisdom, and you can eat of that. And when you respect them, I'll tell you what, an elder they'll give you everything. They will tell you
Mm-hmm.
all the jewels. They'll give you all the secrets. They will show you the insight that they've received from the Father. But if you disrespect them and shame them, you would never know that you walked past a jewel of the Most High,
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
you just disrespected them.
Hallelujah.
So I
Mm-hmm.
believe in that sense, in being raised, that's what we should teach our children. That's what I teach my children: to honor the elderly, and show respect, know what you can say, what you can't say, and just choose to give respect versus wait for an opportunity for someone to, if you will, earn it. If you just give it, give honor, show honor, it'll do so much more for you. And in the area of husbands and wives, I like how you put that out there, because the drive of a man is to give his wife that embrace of comfort, safety, and security, peace of mind. And what he wants for her in return is just that, like you said, that respect. He wants that honor. He wants to know that all his efforts that he's putting forth to bring about this shalom that should exist in his house is being received, and it comes through the simple things of just being honored. And it's easy to dishonor someone, but it's also easy to honor as well. So I think that with that, like you said, at home, that's where
Mm-hmm.
the children are going to see it, and that's when they're going to bring it to their places of learning, or they're going to bring it to their friends' houses or whatever. And they may encounter children that don't say yes, sir, don't say no, ma'am, don't say Mister and Mrs. So in my house, we don't call adults by their first name, and that's for honor. And only if someone has requested to do so. And
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot
Mm-hmm.
of adults don't really say that. I guess it's really my culture, the way I was raised. But some people really do get offended by having some little, as they call a litle whippersnapper, speaking to them on the adult level, as if they understand what that means. So it could even show humility from a child's perspective when they use respectful terminology with adults. It's just the way it is. It's
Mm-hmm.
just the way it
Mm-hmm.
is. I think even in the military, you would have experience doing that. And I think we went by last names as far as I knew in that point. There was one other thing you said. Oh yes, assuming when it comes to honor in the home and honor in those relationships, I think sometimes what really steals the honor, and it's like you mentioned earlier with the cashier. Sometimes we need to assume that somebody didn't mean it. you know, sometimes somebody may come at you in a certain way, and you're just like coming from left field, and instead of taking it as a strike, let's just assume they didn't mean it and honor them instead. Let's assume that they didn't try to offend you. It didn't come off offensive, as we use the term mean. Let's try to because that'll be an honorable situation. And I think the scriptures even talk about the sense of heaping coals on someone's head.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if somebody comes at you in a dishonorable way, and let's just say they are doing it intentionally, and instead you give them humility and honor, you may cause them to become shamed, and who knows, maybe they may confess and repent of whatever it was that they did. And I think that that's a really good thing. And I think another thing you mentioned about is going in the store. I used to work in a store, so I know what it's like, but it's not just that way. I believe everybody should have this in their heart in some way. You don't own the store. Some people go
Right.
in the store and it's their playground. Everybody, we can have fun, but there's some things you shouldn't do. And sometimes we end up, somebody may bump a shelf, knock some stuff over. To show honor, let's pick up the messes we make. Or if you see that, a product fell off the shelf, is it going to destroy your life to put it right back on the shelf?
Hmm.
Or if you took one off the shelf and it's like the next one is really far back, we call that fronting. You grab the next product in line, you just pull it to the front. Yes, of course you're helping them sell something, but that's not the point. You're also showing honor. You're grateful. And I think depending on how grateful you are for something is going to change the way you show honor, you know.
Yeah. Now all of it was good, but being grateful, that just resonated in my heart. I think we are people that are not grateful, right? And when I say that, that it includes me. I need to look at it, what I need, how I need to look at it. I need to be grateful for all, most of all, that the Father has done, and then what others has done also, right? Uh, the one thing is, this is, if you dishonor me, I will shut you down, right? Other words, I will say no longer communicate with you, right? That it's totally off, right? According to what the situation is now, if, like you were saying, I think sometimes people will hear, you just gonna let anybody do anything to you? No, no, we're not talking about that now, because we're talking about, if you dishonor me, right? I'm still gonna honor you. That's not. I'm not gonna go to your level of of craziness, right? But you are no. What we have going on is no longer there. So we are through with it. In that, right? We are through with it. So now I have to take steps in order to do that, because when you dishonor somebody, then that's where the consequences come in at, because now you didn't shame that person, right? So if I'm the cashier and you threw the money at me, I'm not going to say, oh, I must honor you, throw some more at me. No, no, we need to handle that situation, but I want to handle that situation properly, in that. And so the proper steps is, and in honoring you, I'm not going to sit there and just argue with you. I'm going to tell you that wasn't the rightful thing to do. Could you please call your manager, right? So I don't want to, I'm sure nobody wasn't getting this, but just in case, there's a proper way to doing it. So when I honor you, you're just not going to say, just do anything, right? So you mentioned also the upbringing. Everyone, like I say, may not been know about this, because somewhere it changes where you don't have to say yes sir, no sir, and all of that, right? So somewhere down the line, it changed, And so if the parents are not teaching the children, then the children don't know anything about it, you know. And you would ask the child, could you come here, right? And said, wait, I'm busy, right? That was a dishonest situation, right? So what happens is now you turn it into shame, right? You turning that into shame on what level it is. The one of the keys too, you were saying that even with adults, from there you still have to teach even adults how to honor, right? When they come, because they may not know that, they may not know that they can just say what they say to you, in that. They should not know, but the way that they are being taught today is just so we'll say disrespectful. You were saying respect, and we were talking about that. And I think that's a words that we understand though, right? It's disrespectful of what you saying. So I give you a chance in what you was doing, but you can't disrespect one another. We can't do that. The honor always have to be there, and then according to what level it is, right? Even when I wants to say something, I cannot say anything, in that. So the child cannot say anything he wants to say to his parents, and he must understand that, in that, right? So it's the same thing with the level of, so the wife cannot say anything she wants to say to the husband. Even though you're thinking that, you can't say that, because if you dishonor him, you're gonna put him in another realm, right? In that. And so you honor him by obeying the things that is telling you to do as well, right? And so vice versa, you're honoring one another. That's part of the submission of things, right? In that. So when he's telling you to do something, then that's honoring him when you carry it out. If you don't carry it out, that's dishonoring him, right? It's very simple. It's not real hard. And we talking about all things being equal, right? When he tells you something, there's no option there. So the honor part of it is no option, just like when you honor her, right? So it's the same thing with when the children see that. They see that when mom says something to dad, then it's being done, and that's I should do the same thing. They don't know that when the wife says something, when the husband says something and the wife don't do it, they think you're teaching them that it's optional what I do. Right? It's optional when dad say something, it's optional. That you teaching them the wrong thing. It's the same thing with the wife. If the wife asks the husband to something and you don't carry it through, then you're teaching them the same thing. So I am sold on the fact that it's what you do. You can read that all day, but it's what you do. So you have to make sure that you honor one another, and that will strengthen, right? Strengthen the relationship that you have with one another. And even in our scriptures, it tells us to honor all men. And Peter, I'm not going to turn to it. And Peter, you can read it. First Peter 2:17. Right? It's something that we have to do. We have to honor all men. And I think it says something about like love the priesthood. No, love the brotherhood. Maybe I should have turned to it. Love the brotherhood. Right? And it says fear Elohim, right? And then it says honor the king, right? I'm reading from another. So we have to honor all people, honor all people. Now, when you come in the kingdom, maybe you haven't been honoring all people. You have a journey. You understand? You have a journey, because now you're attaching yourself not only to the king of the universe, but you're attaching yourself to a clan or a tribe or a community, whatever word you want to use. So it's not by yourself. That's the reason it's never been meant for by yourself. You can't honor yourself. Somebody else has to honor you. Somebody else has to honor you. Something around you has to build the honor in you, right? And then you can leave a legacy of honor even to your children, and people will respect you because of your mother or your father, right? They may give you, we're going to say, privileges in that as well, So we want to honor. It tells you to honor the widows, right? Those that 60 and above, honor them, right? Because of their work's sake. So you're honoring somebody because of what their position is, what they have done, or whatever. Just your position, we ought to be able to honor them, right? In that. And so it is so much better that when you honor somebody, than when you dishonor them and bring in shame upon them. So there's strength in honor. There's strength in honor. There's no strength in dishonor in that, right? I was trying to find double honor. So the First Timothy 5:17
First
talks
Timothy.
about,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. You was gonna go there. I'm stealing your thunder. But it was talking about the elders. That now not the problem, but the qualifier through that is that they rule well, right? That they rule effectively, right? So you can honor them, but if you order to get double honor, they're gonna have to be effective in their leadership, right? And so those are the one as counted as double honor. So when I was talking, I'm gonna call it levels, And this is one of the levels is double honor for what? Especially those. So there's going to be some elders that do the teaching or the speaking or all of that, the communication, making sure that the community is where it should be, right? And those get double honor, right? You know, for their work's sake, just because of what they are doing, that's where the honor comes in at, right? The labor that they're doing among the community. So this honor and dishonor really are it you know, the honor really shows in the community. So you break the community up and go individuals. If you just individual entities, then you won't understand this honor thing. You know, it's going to be difficult for you, right? Because it's predicated. This First Timothy is predicated that you was around some elders, and that not only that you're around them, but they be doing some leadership, right? You know, and so those are the ones that are worthy of that, right? And so they're worthy of all honor in that. So it was another one that I was wanted to put out. Um, but anyway, I could be looking for, but that's one of the things. Did you want to comment on that, brother? Since I took some of that thunder.
Yes, sir. Praise Yah. Well, they thunder and lightning, they go together.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
Hallelujah.
praise Yah. I really want to take a phrase from my brother, and he uses this term called individualites. And I like what you said there because you can't just single out yourself. This is a collective. So when the Most High saved his people, he saved all of them. So
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I like that you put that out there. We can't just make it about ourselves. And in particular what you mentioned there in Timothy, it says especially those who labor. And then in verse 18 it says the laborer is worthy. And he makes the analogy of this laborer the same as in an ox. As we know, the ox is like the ancient symbol for the word father, even.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Av. It would be the aleph would be the shape of an ox, the really old Hebrew. So again, this elder that he's saying is worthy of double honor, he's saying they're like a father working, they're like a work laborer. And what gets me with that is, why is it double respect? Because they're respected not only because they've achieved the level of wisdom and age, but they've also achieved the level of wisdom in the ways of the Father.
Yes,
So some
yes,
people
yes.
are just
Hallelujah.
one; they're not both. Some
Mm-hmm.
people, if you know what I'm saying. But what gets me with that is that he's Shaul is speaking to Timothy here, is really it's as a command. Because I know that if we overlook where the Father placed his wisdom, we also may overlook all the good things that he has for his people.
Mm-hmm.
Moshe had no authority in the community until he presented himself to the elders, and they gave him the right to speak to
Mm-hmm.
everybody.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I just really like that you brought that out. I feel like I had something else to say, but in doing so, you said something also that's awesome to me, is that one of the greatest forms of flattery, is what people call it, is imitation. And I don't mean it in the sense of you're trying to fluff someone up, but Yeshua said it's good enough to be like your teacher. And it's written for us in the book of Hebrews in chapter 13, verse 7. It says, remember those leading you, who spoke the word of Elohim to you. Consider the outcome of their behavior and imitate their belief. And then in verse 17, it says, obey those leading you. Be subject to them, for they watch over your beings, your nefeshim, your soul, and having to give an account. And let them do so with joy, not groaning, for that would be of no advantage to you. So again, these are those double respect individuals. Those are the ones that are leading. Those are the ones that are giving you an imitatable example of belief and how to overcome things with joy. And to honor them, you imitate that.
Mm-hmm.
You become
Mm-hmm.
like that. You seek to be those individuals that are also going to be laborers in the community, those who tread out. That is a long process, and it's a hard process. So we can't be those who give up easily, you know. So I just see that with someone, when someone's worthy, the laborer who is worthy, they have a lot to live up to. And I just think that if we're really looking towards a place of honor, we should also strive to live up to those examples, because that's what they're there for. You know, Yehoshua, it says that he had the same respect as Moshe. So if he wasn't if
Right,
he wasn't
right,
like Moshe, then why would people listen to him?
right.
You
Absolutely,
know?
absolutely.
So the whole point behind it for me is that in doing so, we have to remember that the Father is called, he has freed us. He has given us the opportunity to be counted among his set apart people. That's not a low thing. We should be happy about that. And
Hmm.
in doing so, let us transform into becoming people who represent that honorable community that he says is worthy of being called his brothers. You know, he said, "No longer do
Yes,
I call you
yes,
servants; I call you brothers."
yes,
So we can
yes.
we can line up with people like that if we imitate them, and with honor. That's an honorable thing.
Absolutely. I think that if the time is kind of getting us, but if we were to say to honor one another, we know that Torah always sets what we need to do, right? And like you were saying, that as we walking through these things, we have to make sure we do this from Bereshit or Genesis all the way to Revelation, right? And when we look at that, we'll find out that we have to honor one another. We have to do that. And I found out that if we put those things in practice, right, that's the key. The key to this is putting it in practice. You know, it is very, very easy, because once you share and once you plant the seeds of honor to others, they will honor you. And most time of the rub comes in at is they may even feel dishonor when you dishonored when you didn't really say desire to do it. I wanted to do it, right? They may not, but they still feel that way sometimes. And then once that happens, then that brings a whole lot of stuff in the middle of that, right? So it's a way to do all things, and we have to figure out what that way is. And so sometimes it's just a relearning of things, and if we don't have these examples around us, especially when the leaders are doing that, you know, then we'll realize that those things are there, right? So we have to know that, and we have to understand that, right? And then if we look at a lot of, and I will honor them without mentioning their names, but there's a lot of leadership that they are, it's pitiful. So where are we gonna get it from? Where we gonna get it from, right? And so we're gonna have to be the light of the world, right? We're gonna have to be the light of the world. So and we are not, we may be few, but we will not disappear. We gonna be here. So when everybody else is dishonoring, we gonna honor, right? We shouldn't call ourselves. We shouldn't call people out of their names. You dishonoring them, right? So it's a way. If it would stop a lot. I mean, I could go on with this. It would stop a lot if we just honored other people, right? So, somebody say in the real world, that's the way it should be. Well, in the kingdom, that's the way it should be. And if it's not, you're wrong. Period. That's just the way that is. It does not matter. If you're not honoring others, with the higher esteem. So it's like this: whatever you talk about and whatever you say about others, right? And if we're talking about elevating them higher, then that means that you must be, right? That must be. So if you elevate them higher, then we understand that if you say that about them, you're really talking about yourself. So the next time you have some words and things, just think about it. You are included. You are included, right? In that, right? You are included. So always remember, whatever you do, always honor wherever you are at. Start practicing that. Not yesterday, but now, right? If you start practicing those things, then it'll be okay in that, right? The honor will be there. You have any closing words, my brother?
Um, yeah, there's yes, sir. There's some other things
Oh
that you
yeah.
said. I
I don't
think
know. Maybe we'll
there's
tag
some.
team it next week, but we'll see.
Yes, sir. So, just all glory to the Most High, and that His name be esteemed, and may
Hallelujah.
all His people be encouraged because they can achieve with Him.
Yes, without a doubt. I think we can do that if we choose to, right? And you know what? Until you choose to do it, you won't experience the blessing that come from that, right? And then your relationship with others should be different, when you honoring one another, in that. And so when you do that, oh, I'm telling you, we really hitting on something when we talking about the honor that we need to do. So we just thanking the Father for all of the things that He has done, and may Yahweh bless and enrich our lives, because that's important, in that. But it's only going to do that if we begin to start honoring one another in that. I was if someone would have the idea, you can always the tools that we got, just look up honor and whatever program that you might have dealing with the scriptures, concordiances, whatever you do, it might be good just to go through there and read those scriptures that in our English word anyway says honor, right? Look at that, see what it says, right? Are you a vessel of honor? I mean, it could go on. Are you a vessel of honor? And it talks a little bit about that in Romans, right? 9, I think, somewhere in there. You see what it is. So let us be, and I want us to leave us with that. Let us be vessels of honor and do what we can do with each other and see how that looks, in that. Now, like I say, I mentioned this earlier now, there's a proper way to handle things, and you can honor them and handle and get things corrected and still honor people. Okay. You can get things corrected. You can handle the things in a proper, honorable manner. But if you get in your feelings, you won't see it. You don't know where it's at, right? In that, so you can handle all of those things. If we just cool out and handle those things in that, so that it can be done. All right. In that, so we're going to get ready. Thanks all of you that might have joined us in the room, may be present even now. I hope that somehow, now there's some even today, some cultures would even know even more deeper. They are experiencing this truly in their tribe, village, clan, wherever they may be. They are experiencing this, and may the Father give this back to us, a mindset that we can carry it through it, and it will help us to connect to our biblical way of living. Hallelujah.
Praise God.
All right, all right.
You struck
Shalom,
a chord though,
shalom.
really quick.
Huh?
Oh, I said you struck a chord really quick with
Oh,
when you said that about vessel.
go ahead.
So I
Uh-huh.
had
Go
to
ahead, brother.
redact what I said. Um, it made me think about what you said about each of us being vessels. And I think so it says in First Thessalonians 4 and verse 4, it says each one of you should know how to possess his own vessel in set
Yes.
apartness and respect and honor. And I just wanted to say that's like we can't overlook also respecting ourselves. We can't be treating ourselves bad,
Yes,
and putting
yes.
ourselves down. So I just wanted to say to the people of Yah to remember that you're special in the eyes of the Most High and your brothers and sisters, mothers, fathers, elders. So don't treat yourself bad.
Right,
Show
right,
yourself
right.
respect.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yes.
yeah, and I'm glad you made that up because in the conversation I was saying in this context about not you can't honor yourself, but where you putting it in your context, that's the context you can't honor yourself, right? So I didn't want to mention that, or you know what I'm saying. I'm saying that's a connection, and I'm glad you said because it had me to reiterate it. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you
I
can't
mean,
honor yourself. I didn't mean it like that. In this context, I'm saying others
oh,
honor
yes, sir.
you. You know, no, I know you saying it, but just because this is going out to others, I just want to echo that. So that was a brilliant move because you a brilliant man, and the other brilliant man is not with us. So I honor you, my brother, and those even Jedediah in his absence. May all things your week go continue to go in the way that Yah has said. And so we'll try this again. Shalom, shalom, my brother.